And this is for the main Sonic weekly session on Wednesday, 28th of June, 2017. All right, so does anyone want to help with facilitation today?
Yes.
Who is that? Does anyone want to help with facilitation?
Yes, I see your screen now. Sorry, Jay.
I'm asking if you want to help with facilitation, note-taking, timekeeping, video indexers.
Okay.
Task responsibility.
I'll with the video index.
Lucy?
Yes. And timekeeper.
Lucy, you want to help with timekeeping as well?
Yeah.
Okay, Abdul's going to help with that too.
Yes.
Does anyone else want to help with the note-taking?
No.
How about task responsibility master? Like a task master or someone to help with the task and responsibilities organizing.
As I am able for session value tracking after the end of the session.
Okay, so Abdul's going to help with session value tracking. We also need a master document updater, and also
I also have all this that.
Abdul, cool. But we
I'll learn if you want that, Abdul, or master doc update. I'll learn you.
You're going to do that too as well, Lucy? And we're going to start separating the master document updater from the task responsibility master to make it clearer that the task responsibility master happens during the session. And then at the end of the session, the master document updater updates all of the documents. But that happens at the end.
Okay.
Jay, can I do that or task responsibility master?
Yes, of course you can. So you want to do that, Benji?
Yeah, but I want to. If it is okay to you, can you train me with that?
Yeah, I mean, I can go over it again. I've gone over it like three times or so since you've been around, but I can go over it again if it's complicated. But yeah, thank you for stepping up. All right, so that should all be fine.
No.
Does anyone want to do the session task responsibility verification?
Yes.
Abdul? And I can help as well. Abdul, you're going to help with that?
Yes, yeah, I also
Okay.
do that.
Cool. So let's start our check-in. so I'll go first. I'm doing pretty well. It's been a long week. I was down in LA and had to set up a house for hospice, which basically we had a family member who was passing away. Very sad, but from there, it's good to be back, and I'm looking forward to getting lots of work done. And I'm probably like 6.5. How about Lucy? You want to go next? Lucy, would you like second?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. And not really seeing that Sunday incident. I'm not well. I don't feel well working with Jay and Benji unless something must be done for them to understand how it is fun to attack both of them, one person at the same time. I think today this topic must come out so that they know that everyone who is here, they need to respect their dignity.
Okay, how are you doing? What would be your number?
My number is 4.
Okay. Okay, Abdul, you want to check in?
Yes. I'm pretty well today, and I am very much excited to join this session after my holiday. And I think I am able to work to continue. And I am 6 today.
Okay, Benji, Julie?
I'm pretty good, Jay.
I'm not the only one here. I'm not the only one here.
Yeah, I'm pretty good, and I am very conditioned today. I'm 7.
Okay. Julie?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm good today, but I have a little problem since my audio is still not working, but I'm 6 today.
Cool. Is Ulysses here? Did anyone else show up? I think that's everyone, right? All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at our desired outcomes. Obviously, we want to discuss some of what happened over the weekend. I'm not sure what the exact outcome would be to that, but basically to make sure we all understand each other and respect each other, and have clear boundaries and professional communication. From there, I think it would be good to go over have clarity on our what's it called, conflict resolution policy. Are there any other desired outcomes people have? Or any other topics? So obviously we want to review what happened over the weekend. That's that.
And also include value tracking, Jay. Value tracking, people misunderstand that. When you document the hours, they think whatever you wrote there is what's supposed to be on their report, work report. I think that might be clear to everyone today. You make it clear.
So maybe we should start with that?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else people want to go over?
Jay, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Should I continue my task yesterday, or should I skip that and proceed to my task for today?
Today we have a group meeting. This is our main weekly session where we all check in and just go over all of the tasks and do training and things like that. So it's a different type of session today.
So I will skip my task for yesterday, right?
Yeah, just don't. We're not doing tasks right now. We're prioritizing and making sure. Maybe that's part of what we can do is like go over some of the priorities.
Okay.
Cool. So are there any other topics that people want to discuss today? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get started and going over value tracking and documenting hours. And maybe we should go ahead and start with last Wednesday. So at the top of this doc, there should be the supersonic team. This is good. And do we have our supersonic main session doc yet? Here's your weekly Sonic Sessions doc. So I'm going to go ahead and put this at the top. So you can see how this one's a lot cleaner. So this one needs to have today's on it. So if someone can add today's, that would be great. Also looks like we don't have, it would be 21st. So we're missing last week's as well. So 21st weekly main session. So this goes over here as well. And the other important thing to note here is that you don't need the actual name because they're all the same session. So if someone could add today's, that'd be great. Is someone going to do that?
Okay.
Lucy, you got it?
Yeah. Linking today, doc here. I'll do it.
To the main weekly Sonic Sessions doc.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you try to make it.
And we can go ahead and give Lucy a task point. Good. So, okay. So let's go to, yeah, Wednesday the 21st. So we're just going to go over what happened last time.
Yep.
So I believe this is what we're talking about here. So my understanding is that we had a long session. So we had 2-hour session. And if we look at my notes, let's go to Meet. session. So this is where I track my hours right here on like, oh, we also need to cover that. It's super important. Next steps, we need to discuss master notes schedule and master daily. All right, so this is the wrong one. Wednesday the 14th? No, Wednesday the 21st. Oh, no, it's not Wednesday the 21st. For me, it's actually Tuesday. So it looks like I didn't even put anything on mine. That's interesting. So I got 1 hour, buddy team, Jade, Nelly, Jorge. So this would be 2 hours. Exit follow-up and communications. I can only, I would assume this is 2 hours since we had it 2 hours there. Prep for seasonal session. So we did do the seasonal session. So let's take a look at the seasonal session. So it says here the seasonal session was 2 hours as well. So this would be at 10 p.m. America's time, seasonal session. So, I mean, I'm not 100% sure if that's right or whatever, but looks reasonable. So, what do you guys think? So now, what should we check? Does anyone else want to go over the context of it? So basically, the easiest thing to think about. So if we have a 2 hour Sonic session, a 2 hour seasonal session, right? If you do other additional work, for example, like let's say you do 0.5 hours of value tracking, something like that, this would be separate, right? Separate from the session. So the session ends, and then if you're doing additional follow-up work after the session, put that separately on your work timesheet. So I might have an example of that. Let's try 2 Wednesdays ago. Let's see here. Wait, it's not Wednesday. I keep forgetting. It's Tuesday. Sonic session. So it is Sonic session 1.5 hours. Okay, well, it's not an example, but
There's a weekly sonic session start.
So, should we go through, was there a specific one you wanted to go through, Lucy? Let's take a look at, I would start with Lucy's, and then if you want to do like Benji's or Julie's, we can. But let's see where we're at. So if we go to today, we go up to the Sonic team. Weekly sessions. Wednesday. So this is Wednesday the 21st. Today. Sonic team doc. And we do need to get this in all of these notes, like copied and pasted to a new doc, because there's like way too many of them. All right, important docs, spreadsheet, work hours with pay. Let's try Lucy. Okay, so the first thing I would note here is that these docs, goodness, this is pretty confusing. All of this stuff, I would put under your title so that it's clear what's going on here.
Okay.
This is just really, it's kind of a mess here. We want to try to organize our main docs as best as we can, of course. And then also, I also usually try to make these a little smaller so that, and make them all the same size. Might help a little bit. Anyways, so we want to go to your work report doc. And let's go ahead and check out the 21st. So for the 21st, we have seasonal session 2 hours, Sonic session 2 hours. So this is correct. Right? So that makes sense. So then you wanted also to check, was it Julie or Benji, or who should we check next?
Sorry, Jake.
Lucy? Well, I was talking to Lucy. Did you want to check someone else's? Should we do Julie, see what it says? So if we go to Julie's work report, and we go to the 21st, seasonal session 2 hours, Sonic team session 2.5 hours via Hangout. Did the Sonic video indexing. So is this part of what you're talking about, Lucy?
Yeah, I'm talking about the confusion when people try to fill tracking hours. I think down our note of weekly section, you always you add for like timekeeper these hours, and today time you add a total like 6 hours. But what you are going to put on our work report, people, they don't exactly put the 2 hours it is there. They usually take the hours that have been added, like a timekeeper 2 hours, 12 tracking, then added 6. They thought that is the really hours need to be added there. I think you want to make the people clear about that. People, they don't understand those are not the hours they need to put there.
So we want to make sure it's clear about the session session credits, right? Are not equivalent. I think there's a or not.
You can go down our session we had, and I think there is a value tracking there. When someone has like 10 hours, 6 hours,
yes,
plus points.
Well, here, let me show you guys, like, and we'll also look at, let's also look at, not this one, but.
That's exactly where we misunderstood with the Benji. When I told him these are not the hours you're supposed to put there, he said he will get clear from you. I think you have to make it clearly today.
Okay.
We are not going to document whatever is we are putting as a point, like this one, 2 hours, 3 hours.
So the main thing to understand here, okay, so this one wasn't done. We didn't do any session value tracking here for the actual hours. It just wasn't completed. So let's look at the seasonal section.
If a seasonal session, you can just go there, yeah, you can get it. For example, like that one.
So Benji, it says 5.5 hours. Julie, it says 6.5 hours. I did 10.5 hours. So just to make sure you understand, like, the reason why we have these big hour numbers is because you get a multiplicity of value based on the work, the actual contributions you do. So if you're basically doing training and facilitation and note taking all at the same time, it's like you're really contributing to the session and make it run much smoother and better for people, as well as being on audio and the computer and helping with everything. So that's why you get the extra value. And that where this goes, it goes into the session value tracking. So you have like the seasonal session credits, and these are session credits. So you take the total time and hours in your points, and then they add up to the credit values. And so everybody's accumulating session credits with every single session, including today. We also take session contributions. So if someone gave a contribution during a session, there would be value in that as well for the session itself. So, I mean, obviously we're not getting any money right now, but in the future, when we do public sessions, we'll certainly be asking people to contribute both monetarily with their time as well as their work. So the session credits, like getting like 445 session credits, right, is not directly equal to like $100 or whatever, but it gives a general sense and conceptual framework for the type of value that we're talking about when we are getting these credits together. And then those credits will be issued as actual things that you can trade in for money one day, right? So like they're kind of like equity credits. And it also relates to our team equity as well. So I think that's pretty clear as far as like the difference. So if we look at, let's look at Benji here for a minute. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, so we're going to go to the 21st. So here we have 2.5 for that session, seasonal session, 2 hours, and so we have 4.5 timekeeper, buddy team with Abdul and Ulysses, and setup notes. So basically, like, and then who else was here? Abdul? I think Abdul was here. Let's check out Abdul's as well. Here we go, work report. So Abdul put 2.5 as well. You know, so you know, what I remember from Abdul is Abdul did, you know, the session value tracking, right? Which would be 0.5 hours afterwards, right? So we did like a half an hour after the session. So this is what it should look like, right? So you do the seasonal session for 2 hours, you do 0.5 hours afterwards, and then that adds up, right? Because I definitely remember that Abdul spent a lot of extra time after the seasonal session to make sure that goes. Another thing that you could put here is you could put like, you know, Skype communications, you know, maybe you chatted on Skype afterwards for a half an hour or something like that. But the point is that the seasonal session itself lasted 2 hours, right? So I would definitely encourage you guys to update this to 2 hours because I think that is where we were. And then the other thing to note here is that timekeeper for Sonic session, this would be like 0.25 hours of work. So even though it was 2 hours or 2.5 hours, the actual work, and let's just go ahead and make this yellow so we are noting it.
Like this Wednesday, okay.
Buddy Team Abdul and Ulysses for setup notes. So that would be before the session, I'm assuming, but I don't know. But this 0.25 hours.
No, I'm asking. Eh?
Oh, what are you asking?
I think on Sonic team, main buddy team 2.5 hours. Then again down here, seasonal. Is it the same day?
These are 2 separate sessions. So the seasonal was 2 hours.
Okay.
And the Sonic team was 2 hours. So, and that's the same on yours, Lucy. So you have the
Yeah. I understand.
So, but the main thing here is just understanding that
The value tracking.
Yeah, for the value tracking, and the reason we do this, and just to kind of look at a bigger picture, is that it's not 100% just about the hours. I mean, you know, depending on your jurisdiction, the money, all that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, you know, it's not like a lot of money, and we're gonna be hiring people for like, you know, doing like 10 hours or 20 hours a week, and we want people to be helping out a little bit and get so that they can be involved without necessarily working like full time and things like that. And that's going to evolve over time as we get things more organized. But the point is that these hours are representations of the value that you're actually contributing into the organization. And this is what the foundation for all of our equity systems and how all of the equity and the distribution of the value works, right? So your pay is basically a fixed rate, you know, like you're not being paid hourly, you know, everyone's being paid like basically a set rate for the week. So for example, you know, here we have Julie worked 23 hours, but your fixed rate is basically working, I think it's 20 or 22 hours for the week. So as long as you work about that much, we can pay you your total for the week, right? Or the month, right? So, you know, it's not perfect, right? Like we're not, like the hours, it's hard to make hours perfect, right? Another example of that would be, let's look at Steve real quick. Do we have Steve here? No. Where can we find Steve?
I think Steve is Amanda.
I'm just gonna go to me and
You can find him there.
all right, Steve's main duck and Steve's work report. Okay, so with Steve, he like he's really bad at work reporting. So like it's 17 hours of work. Obviously, but we probably know he worked more like 20, 23 hours, possibly even more, right? So let's say you take, you know, 23 hours. Remember, our hourly work week is 30 hours, so that would be like 76%, right? So he might have worked 76 or 75% time. So that would be like 3/4 time for this week. So he tracked 17 hours, but he worked 75% time. Right? So the reason why we don't have people do this, there's 2 reasons why this is bad, right? The first reason is that it's just we don't know what he did during those extra hours. It's not documented. So 2 things happen. 1, we can't issue the value, so he loses value. So he actually loses as much as like 25% of his value. And then secondly, he loses the ability for us to get value from our client. So if we don't track the hours from our client and we don't track the output, right, and the deliverables. So he's actually tracking output and deliverables, which is really good. So he put like 20% of the center block of the master ledger he helped out with. So that if we don't track the hours and the time, then it's very difficult to get the value from the client, because that's part of how the client tracks the time as well. Okay, does that make sense? So it's better, it's always better to track the hours, but it's impossible for everyone to track all their hours perfectly. So if you don't, like for someone like Steve, who's working way more hours than he's tracking, it is technically possible to estimate your hours for the week, but that's really bad to do. We would prefer not to do that at all, but sometimes it's necessary. So are there any other like general questions on the work reporting and tracking our hours and the difference between session credits and our work hours and how they're different?
None so far, Jay.
So the main thing here is just like, you know, if you did some Skype or Skyping or whatever afterwards, just note that down, you know, have it clear. But overall, I think that it should be perfectly fine. And see, like these 3 points here don't have anything to do with your work report. These 3 points only are applicable to and maybe this is you spend a half an hour doing master document updating after the session, right? Does that make sense? So these 3 points here are only applicable to the credits, which happen afterwards. And this is more tasks to do, is like to finish up all of this here. Are there any questions on the session credits and understanding the session credits?
No, I don't have a question, but I just have do you have a link for Supersonic Team Doc?
It's at the top of our notes doc. Did you get the link to our notes? If you go to the top of our notes, it's got the Supersonic Team Doc right there.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And then also we should, wait, this is the old notes. All right, so these are my notes for today. All right, so this is today's notes here. And we have the Supersonic Team Doc. We should also have the Sonic main session doc. So that's also something that we want to make sure is linked. And the reason we link the Sonic main session doc is it's just so much simpler and clearer and easier than the Super Doc. The Super Doc is always a little overwhelming.
I'll do it. Okay.
And I'm just organizing it, make sure it's nice and clear what's going on there. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on. Any questions on last questions here on this before we go on to conflict evolution policies?
For me, I have no question.
Okay, and I guess the last thing I'll say is that you know it can be contentious. Like, let's just be honest here. As a global community, and a global network, the money is just very, very difficult, right? Like, people all over the world are working at different rates and different amounts and different eras. Like, so for me, I'm making like $1,500 a month, but I'm working at like 9% of what it would cost for me to live where I currently live, and I can't pay rent, I can't buy food. Like, I mean, I can't meet my basic needs of life, right? Because it's just not enough money. So, someone like Abdul is making more than 100% of his basic life needs, right? So, based on his jurisdiction. So it's very difficult to equate the money and relationship to the different jurisdictions, the different people, and you don't know whether someone has a family or whether someone's spending the money on, you just don't know. So the time people are working in versus how much they're getting paid and like the general wages of it, it's hard to really no, I mean, overall, you can assume that we're spending more money than we really need to do the amount of work getting done, right? You can kind of assume that because we're paying thousands of dollars, yet all the work's not getting done, right? So we need to hire more people, and we need to make sure that there is some, friendly competition in the context where we want people to find what they work best at, so that the people who are doing what they're able to do best are able to do it, and then other people can work on other things that they're good at, as opposed to putting someone working on something they're not good at. So anyways, the point here is just simply that it's complicated. So the whole global situation and relationship of hours to work to pay, and jurisdiction and what the money is spent on, it's just very, very complicated. And it's like every time I pay Steve, every time I pay other people, it's like money that's not going to go to pay me, right? So every time we pay people, it's always taking away from somebody else, and it's like, what do we do? Do we pay back pay for people, or do we pay just people getting their fair wage to begin with, right? So it's definitely difficult, but that's part of why we have these sessions and we talk to each other and we try to figure it out. So we just want to understand that it isn't easy, and there's a lot of us who are struggling. There's also people in the world who are much worse off than we are. So we need to help them and come to our own understanding so that we can help other people. All right, so let's go on to the conflict evolutions here. I think overall, it's like, I guess just to reiterate what I'm trying to say is that we're doing a lot of guesswork and a lot of estimation, right? So lots of guesswork and estimations. And we want to try to not make assumptions about people's personal situations, but we also want to be very, very specific and strict on our policies and what people need to do in order to get paid, and that it's clear to everybody and fair for everybody. And if people aren't meeting the basic needs, there shouldn't be any sort of conflict about it. It's just like, okay, you can't work anymore, or you can work because you're doing the work that needs to be done, right? So it should be very, very professional. So we want to create an atmosphere of professionality, support and help. We want to help each other. And it's easier said than done, and obviously the people who are getting paid, right? So people getting paid have a higher expectation to be professional and or just professional, period, and it can be difficult. So the only other thing I'll say in terms of the conflict evolution to get started is simply that we are a public network, and all workers are publicly accountable, right? This means that all of our sessions need to be recorded and publicly accessible to review, right? And that includes buddy team sessions. People need to start recording buddy team sessions. Really, really important. Recorded, right? And we're going to be doing massive public outreach, and we're going to be launching, right? So we're going to launch the public network. So right now we're still kind of internal, and the vast majority of the people involved will be working, helping, contributing for no upfront money. Okay, people there's no way that we can pay everybody for the work, because there's too much work to do without, it's just the way it is. So basically what happens if you have hundreds of people involved, which we already have hundreds of people involved, You're bound to have conflicts. Conflicts are totally natural, and it just happens. And there's going to be internal conflicts. There's going to be external conflicts. Conflicts between different cultures. You know, it can be for so many different reasons. Between cultures, miscommunication, actual disagreements on policy or decisions. It could be anything really. Of why people disagree or why people get in arguments. And it can be very passive. And it can also be very vocal and arguing, yelling. And you'll see it. I mean, it happens, you know, where it's just like people are yelling and screaming at each other, and you try to like calm it down and get people focused. So the bottom line, as far as our conflict evolution policy, is that, you know, our conflict evolution, it's about learning about yourself, learning about the people around you. Evolution, so it's about learning about self, organization / network, the people you're working with, and the cultures and values and vocabulary. Use, right? So it's an evolutionary process. Like that's the purpose of the conflict evolution policies that we have, is that we're trying to actually take a difficult situation and turn it into something better, right? So this includes you know, conflict mediation, conflict resolution, what is it called? Communication, what is it? Like coordinated communication, and there's like some C4 systems. Anyways, there's a lot of you know, I statements and you know, repeating what people say, right? So that's kind of the foundation to conflict evolution, is really trying to put it in your own perspective. You know, talk about how you feel, using an I statement. So it's like, I feel this way, right? And you want to try to get away from, you know, blaming other people and telling like, you did this, you did that. As soon as you say you, it's like you're pointing the finger, and like, you know, oh, another key thing is this, we're always learning about non-violent communications. So non-violence is both, you know, not being physically violent, not being verbally violent, and then also not being internally violent with your own thoughts, right? So there's 3 levels of violence that we work with. So this is part of the nonviolent communication models that we use. So anyways, this is very, very high level stuff. It's very difficult to go through, but I want to make sure people have understanding of our evolution, our conflict evolution processes. The only other thing I want to make sure it's like basically the bottom line for us is that we use a Quaker model for conflict evolution, and this would be what we call a strategic branch of the community network. So in this model, it's like, if you know, everyone needs to be willing to work things out and talk. That's really what it comes down to. So if someone is not willing to work it out, then that's a problem, right? So if it comes down to the concept where like you're not willing to talk about it, then that's where it comes down to, okay, well then, you need to move on. It's just like you have to be willing to talk about it so that it can be resolved. If you're not even willing to have discussion, then either you just need to give time. So give time and space, which basically means, you know, not necessarily being involved. So I think that's pretty much it on that level. I missed something. Okay.
A reminder, I think we are now having 1 hour.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The timekeeper. Usually we try to keep everything to about 5 minutes when we don't have a time on it. So I think there's one other thing I was going to add here. Let me see if I can remember it. So people need, especially if you're getting paid or whatever, you need to be willing to work together professionally. But nobody has to be friends here. You know, we're perfectly fine working with people who are potentially even like enemies or different cultures or like, you know, fighting against each other or whatever it is. I mean, this is an open public space. But people have to be able to work together professionally when we are working together. And that's basically what it comes down to. You know, people don't have to like each other or love each other or whatever. We're not even expecting people to. I mean, this is like, we're an open public network for anybody in the world who wants to get involved. It's impossible that everybody's going to love and be happy, gory together. It's just not going to happen, right? So that's part of where the strategic, you know, divisions come in. Like you can have different parallel strategic systems. So that's basically there are ways to getting people working on slightly different projects, but overall people still need to be willing to work together. So I think that's pretty much it. Is there any questions about the conflict evolution policies?
I think it is not the matter of liking each other when you are working. I think when you need to cooperate, and when you are not comfortable working with someone, you cannot even do anything. Your mind gonna be out of working with that person. You cannot even tackle that topic well because you are uncomfortable working with that person. But what I need basically to make it clear, both of us, me, Julie, and Benji, it's not good when one person on someone's neck is not good. When I have a problem with Julie, I should deal with Julie only, not Benji involved in it. When I have a problem with Benji, I should deal with Benji, not Julie involved in it. These two people need to understand. When you are husband and wife, you cannot just go to public. When I have a problem, address to me, and I will say, okay, I did a problem with you. I'm sorry, let this and this go. Not two of you at one person at one day. And again, I want Benji to let me know how he knows me. Is he a prophet? He knows how bad I am with the workmate. And let him address those workmates that are not comfortable working with me. I'm very much willing. If at all there is no other way I can do, I can just withdraw working and I stay. No matter how much I need money, if I'm not comfortable, I should not just force myself when people are not comfortable with me. Because Benji said, all the workmates are not happy with me. I cause a problem with the workmate, and he knows me even before he joined this network. I want him to let me clearly come out and tell me how he knows me before that. I'm very much willing to leave him and work with you, Jay.
Okay, so the first thing I heard you say was that problem with is that, you know, it's just very difficult, Julie and Benji being husband and wife, that it's like 2 against 1, so it's difficult to address one at a time, and it would be much better to just talk to Benji one-on-one or just talk to Julie one-on-one, and that would help have better communication. And that is also, you mentioned that it's very important to have cooperation at a professional level. When you're cooperating, you're able to get work done. But when your mind is going and you don't feel comfortable with somebody, that it can be very difficult to get any work done in that communication. So that's what I heard from you, Lucy. Is that sound about right? And then we'll hear from Benji.
Yes, it's right.
Okay, cool. So Benji, let's hear some of your responses. And there was a couple questions in terms of like how you knew about Lucy and your perceptions of Lucy. And just so that we can frame this in, we kind of are skipping past the conflict evolution. We're going into kind of reviewing what happened over the weekend, right? Over the weekend. In terms of this, communication issue. So Benji. Benji, are you there? I think you're muted. Benji, Julie? There
Yes, Jay.
Okay. So the question, yeah. Are you ready? Are you gonna go?
Well,
Do you want me to repeat?
okay. Julie.
Hi Jay, can I talk first?
Let Benji speak first, please.
Yeah, I think Benji's gonna go first.
No problem. For me, what I really concern is that what Lucy did things first. Actually, Lucy. Lucy did the first rude comments to my my work report. That's why I react. If she only politely confirm me or inform me or ask me, so maybe there is no problem.
Okay, let me just ask you, don't go ahead. I want to ask you, Benji.
Hey, Lucy,
Can you explain to
Lucy,
me how you knew me before you joined a community network?
Okay, yeah, that was the other question. Yeah, that was the other question, Benji. If you could just answer that. It was just about how you knew. Like you said that you already knew, or Lucy said that you told her that you already knew her. If you could just explain how you knew her and your understanding or perceptions of her.
Don't worry about that, Lucy. I don't mean I did not mean to say that. Maybe I'm just overreacting that time.
Are you saying you didn't know Lucy before you got involved?
I'm sorry?
Are you saying that you did not know of Lucy before you got involved?
Yes, I was just overreacting that time.
That is not overreacting when you write such a thing to someone, saying, I knew you, I have a troublemaker. And another thing, can you tell me people who have a problem with me in a Sonic team so that I might also rectify my problem so that I will work with the people peacefully, please? Because you said I also make a trouble with everyone in our workmate. Benji, I think it's not good when you just accuse me, telling me you knew me before even joining this network. I think that was just pitch me off. It's like even if it is for me to go down the street and beg without working here, I can do it. Because that one pitched me off when someone telling me he knew me. I was asking myself, is Benji a prophet?
So, I would say that, Benji, if you were saying that and you're saying that it was a mistake and you didn't really know that you should address that and you should be somewhat apologetic about that, because that is an interesting thing to tell somebody and then to retroactively take it back without having a reason, a rationale for it. But in the context of just finishing up here, if you can try to talk about just yourself and how you felt and your experience of it, and trying not to talk in the context of like, Lucy did rude comments to me, right? Talk more about like how you felt and keep it in your own personal I statements. I think that's important to do your best on that. Okay. But you can just finish up. We'll make sure it's clear. But obviously you had a negative interaction from some of the comments that Lucy had written.
Yeah.
So do you want to try to just rephrase that statement into I statements? Just do your best. So I know this is kind of challenging. It's not easy to do this, but it's important because it's like it's a learning experience. So you're just saying it in terms of how it felt you instead of in terms of what you of how you react to it, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just wanted to say sorry. Actually I already deleted that statement because I realized it was just an overreacting. If you want to look back the conversation, I already deleted that statement because I know I was just overreacted that time.
Okay, well, overreacting isn't quite right as far as like the English word, right? You misspoke it. You misspoke or you mistakenly said something that you shouldn't have said, right? So that's it's fine to take it back, but let's try to stay in the present. And I think it's good that you talked about how you overreacted and that you took that back and that you also said that you're sorry. So that's good. But if you can just say anything more about your experience in terms of your own statement.
Excuse me, Jay. Julie wants to say it.
Well, Julie will have all the time in the world to say what she wants to say, but let's finish with Benji first, and then we'll let Julie go next. So Benji, I'm just asking you to just try to say a sentence about how you felt from the experience, and then that's all I need.
Actually, I move on. It's okay to me now. I'm cool.
Okay, you feel better. Okay, that's okay. But maybe other people don't feel cool, so it would still be good for you to just say how the experience was for you in terms of your own experience.
Yeah. Lucy, I'm sorry for my part. Don't worry.
It's okay.
All right, so Lucy, do you want to try to repeat anything you heard that Benji said? So the goal here of just been simply not to respond, but just to repeat some of what you heard from Benji.
Repeating again?
Yep, you just want to like put what you heard Benji say in your own words. Just like a sentence or two.
Yeah, Benji said he's very sorry. He was reacting on the comment I made on his work, and I agree with that. But what I was just I can advise you, we have a problem with you. It is not good when two of you just involved at one. Julie and you.
Lucy.
Uh-huh.
So it's really important, and I know this is a learning experience for us, but it's really important to between repeating what you heard someone said and then responding, right? So you just went right into the response, and then that can escalate it again. So it's just like, say what you heard him say, and then stop, and then have some silence. And then if you need to say something else, we'll give you the time for that. And then we're also going to give Julie the time to say something.
Okay.
But we need but it's really important to just make sure that we have closure. So just say what you heard Benji say without saying your own things.
Yeah. He said he was overreacting and he's sorry.
Okay, is that it? Is that good? Okay, so does that sound right, Benji? Is that correct?
Yes, Jay.
Okay, great. Perfect. So Lucy, is there something else that you need to say right now before we move on to Julie?
No, what I just said, I already said everything. I don't want to repeat things again and again.
Okay, so you feel good? You feel like everything's okay for now? So we'll go on to Julie?
It's okay.
Okay, and we'll give you a chance to respond as needed, after Julie. So, Julie, your turn.
Hi everyone. Hi Jay. Hi Lucy. Well, first of all, I did really apologize for what I did for speaking speaking the part of Benji. So it was really a mistake. I was really overreacting because I'm seeing rudeness in the comment. And in the first place, Benji is new to the team. So he should be asked or clarified first before saying anything rudeness on the work report. So for me, it is more better if you clarify the person first. Also, in my part, you highlighted my work report yellow. So I was confused why you did that. What is that for? So I asked you what was that. Then you just told me to delete it if it is not right. So I am not receiving any explanation from you. You just say, just delete it if it's wrong. I'm enough with you guys. Something like that. So I think it's more professional if we explain our part, not just skip or try to make things wrong with our side so that you're become a victim. Something like that. So communication is the key, explanation is the key, so that there would be no bigger problem.
Well, thank you, Julie. So I'm gonna give it a try here to sort of paraphrase what you said, and then we'll see if Lucy wants to give it a try, and then we will see if we can finish up here. So what I heard you say is that you did and you do apologize, and that you feel like it was a mistake to have talked on behalf of Benji, and that you do feel like you overreacted. And excuse me for chuckling at that. So in the context of the seeing the rudeness in the comments, that it basically that you wanted more clarification, and instead you felt that basically you were just told to do something that you didn't really understand, and that you would have wanted to have more clear communication and explanation so you knew what actually to do to resolve the situation. That's what I heard from you. Is that about right, Julie?
Yes, Jay, that's correct.
Okay. So Lucy, do you want to give it a try? This would just be simply paraphrasing what Julie said in your own words. And I did part of it for you. And so you can just give it another try.
Julie says she's apologizing for speaking on behalf of Benji, and that's a mistake. And again, for highlighting her work without explaining to her being rude. Yeah.
Does that sound about right, Julie?
Yes, Jay.
Okay. All right. So we're doing pretty good. So Lucy, is there anything else that you want to say to add to this?
Yeah, I can explain why I did not answer a part of Julie yellow work, because the time when Julie asking me to explain, they were already attacking me, both of them on my neck, and I asked Julie, it is okay, just do it, whatever you see. I had enough from you guys, because I was so much exhausted and tired, because two people just writing like, and I'm the only one. I was not even having a position to explain for her, because all of them are at the same time speaking, this writing. That's why I did not explain for you, Julie. Both of you have been speaking, writing many messages to me. So I choose to say, it is okay, just do a necessary you see it is good for you. Either you delete or whatever you see it's good for you. I had enough from you. That's what I feel, because both of you have been just writing many messages. I cannot even explain, because you didn't give me time to do that. At the beginning, both of you are speaking too hard to me. That's why I choose to say, just do the necessary you see it is good for you. Yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like you had the experience that you know, they were both writing at the same time and you were trying to keep up and it was just too much and you just had enough and it exhausted you, and that you kind of basically snapped, and that, you know, it came off kind of more negative than maybe it should have. So that's more or less, Lucy, is that about right?
Yes.
Yeah. Julie or Benji, do you want to repeat what you heard Lucy say?
Yeah.
Yeah, either one
Yeah,
of you.
so yes. Yes, Jay. So Lucy said she was exhausted at that time. The only one working on that work report, and that he don't want to receive too much information or too much issues, so she did not answer. So that's what I get on her point.
Does that sound about right, Lucy?
But I did not mention a bad work report.
That you did not mention a bad work report?
Yeah.
Oh,
I just said I was having a match from them, and that is what made me not to just answer her or just explain to her, because I was so much exhausted to their words. These writing too much messages on one person at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Does that make sense, Julie?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes, Jay.
Okay, so I mean, I think that definitely is really good to hear. It sounds like a perfect storm, you know, all the different things of like the personal experience and like being exhausted and like, you know, the miscommunication and like the you know, things slipping negative. Yeah, so it does happen. So Julie or Benji, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sorry, Jay.
Do you guys have anything else that you need to add at this time? Or are you guys good?
Well, I think that's all, Jay.
Okay. Benji?
I have additional.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I think we just need to always remember that we should respect each other, and especially in my situation now that I am a newbie. So I think we should be more considerable, because I need to train a lot, and also for myself, for ourselves. I mean, I think we should always remember that we that's all. I forgot.
No, that's great. That was great. You know, I mean, respecting each other, very important. You know, understanding that we're all in difficult situations. You being new, people being, you know, tired, and, you know, just making sure that we're considering different aspects.
And be professional. That's what I mean. Also.
Yes, doing our best to be professional.
Yeah.
All right, Lucy, is there anything else that you need to add, or are you good?
Well, just only being professional and not I will just stick on what I said. When someone has a problem, two of you cannot just go one, or you just just writing many messages to that person. I think that was not a professional. If I was not professional and you know that, hey, Lucy should not do this, you should be a professional too. You have to do things at the right. If I'm not right, you need one person to address on that. I think you need to change on that. And also issue of saying you know someone before you join that. I know maybe Julie discussed you about me before you join this network. You cannot bring that on the table. Everyone knows that you knew me. And I think that was not good. Don't do that again to anyone else when you discuss with the people. And also think that I have a problem with the members. Even now, I fear working with every one of you here in this team. I'm not comfortable working with you guys. I'm fearing now. I now question myself, whom am I going to work with? Because I'm having a problem with all the members. So I think addressing such a question also is not good. Maybe those who knows you know saying Lucy is a troublemaker. Everyone is now a troublemaker. Now I fear even working now really. I fear even doing anything, maybe going again and work with that payroll tracking house. Totally, I fear doing that. I don't want to be a problem again. I don't want to be called I am a problem to this team. Thank you.
So what I'm hearing from you, Lucy, is that you have concerns still, that you have that it was just a problem getting too much, that you need to see you want it to be professional, and you want more of like addressing from one person at a time, and that you don't feel necessarily comfortable working with you guys, and that that you have some fears, some continuing fears. So I guess, I mean, in that you feel it's a problem, and the answer is that is a problem. It's a problem on many different levels. So in terms of moving on here, I mean, there's a couple things that I want to say in general, but we'll get to that. But in terms of like,
can you have the time, please? The time also, we have 30 minutes left.
Yeah, we have 30 minutes left, but I mean, you as a person, as a human being, is more important than anything else, right? So we do have to stop in 30 minutes, right? But there's no reason we can't bring this up again, like next week, or to schedule a special session, or even to do more tomorrow or something like that, right? I mean, it's a priority, right? So like, I guess my question for you would be, what would you need to feel better about working with, quote, you guys, which I think you're implying, Benji and or Julie or other people. So what needs would you want to see met in order to be able to feel, to reduce the fear and reduce, like, what is it that is you would like a desired outcome?
Yeah, I think if you can separate us, Julie maybe can remain in a Sony team, and Benji work with the other maybe Andromeda team, or you just let me go and leave them there, and I go and work with the other teams. Because when you are not someone who is judgmental to you, no matter how much you try to be cooperative with them, maybe one time something might come out, they just say, this is Lucy. Me, I don't like that. These really affect me. It affects me psychologically. It really affects me. And I feel like I'm not good working with them. For sure, I'm not good working with them.
So, I mean, there's no question that it is technically possible for like you to work in, for example, the Atlantic team, or the, America's team, and, Benji and other people and Julie to work here in the Oceania team, and the Australia team. But overall, I mean, there's always overlap. I mean, we have global sessions, we're all working together. It's like, we're one single team, we're one network, we're one organization, and we need to unify and collaborate, so, I think there should be a way to be able to get to the point of having a mutual understanding, where you can feel safe and feel like you're being respected in your professional space. So for example, like in this space, there's me and Lucy and Abdul and Julie and Benji, right? So it's a much safer space to Lucy to be, because it's like there's a distribution, you know, of the energy. So like that's definitely something that could be done, is to try to, you know, break up in a buddy team to do things, but it does create a burden on the network and the organization. So I mean, I think that it's still, the question is still applicable, Lucy, that, and it could take time. I mean, these things can definitely take time. And if you don't have an answer now, I think that's okay. We can see where we can go with it. But the question is, can you think of anything that would make you feel less concerned, like something that you would hear, or that, you know, like if you're talking about somebody else, like what makes you feel more comfortable, or what makes you feel more respected? Can you think of anything?
What make me comfortable with the people is when we all cooperate. We have to cooperate. When I did wrong, you say, Lucy, this is not right. You need to do this. And also when you assign a task, when you're not doing, it's not gonna be okay. Maybe you know me, I like be transparent. Maybe if I ask you, you didn't did this and we have been assigned this, we have been a buddy team, you say you did this and this, why not this not done? And I you know, always, that is why I choose always to be transparent. That is when I go through the quality tracking and I add those things, I want everything to be very much clear when I put the hours there. I think when you assist someone on that, I think when I was assigned to assist you, Jay, it's like I'm not assist you adding whatever is not right there. I have to add exactly what is right, because I knew that you don't have time, you have many things to do. That's why I can question. You ask me, Lucy, why are you questioning this? Is not right? Can you do this and this? If I'm not right, then I will also apologize, say, I'm very much sorry, I did not know this. It is good also to be truthful to ourselves. And when somebody are questioning you, answer that person politely. Don't just go to you on the same person. I think that might work if people cooperate. Cooperation is the best thing, nothing else apart from cooperating.
So what I'm hearing with you, what would make you feel best is that you have and you feel an experience of cooperation, and that you feel like you're actually working together cooperatively, as opposed to, you know, being told that you're not doing something right, or that it's that you need to just do this, and that's just the way it is, without actually having communication and cooperation. So did that sound right?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so, you know, let's just be honest here. You know, cooperation is not easy, right? Actually cooperating and really working together, if it was easy, the world would be a very, very different place, right? So let's just if we can all commit to at least giving cooperation a try. You know, it's going to take some time. We'll see where we can get to, but that would be the ideal, is like over time we can just, you know, learn from this, you know, that we definitely cross lines, you know, we cross people's safe spaces. It made people feel uncomfortable on multiple different sides and from multiple different angles, and that we really need to be respectful, and we need to find new space to cooperatively work together and see where it goes. You know, I'm going to be talking with Steve. I'm going to be talking with Abdul. Actually, I would love to hear from Abdul right now as well as the Andromeda team. You know, and we will, you know, be discussing this in terms of like what are you know, worst case scenario outcomes, and how we would address it. And so we'll be transparent and open about that in terms of like worst case scenarios. But, you know, overall, we're going to be dealing with much more difficult situations than this. So I guess what I would lay down is, one, that we you know, have a temporary temporarily, we do a couple things. One, we try to encourage involvement in separate teams. We try to base in separate buddy teams and separate, these are like more like octants and super teams. And so then we have separate buddy teams, and then lastly that we also you know, schedule time and space for you know, trying out, you know, slower cooperative collaboration and communication. So I think the most important thing is, like, I mean, I feel like I can really hear oh, and the other thing, and this would be all temporary, and then eventually, you know, move towards a more permanent collaboratory relationship. You know, basically the goal is to get more professional and be able to just deal with what needs to happen when it needs to happen, and not have to worry as much about how people individually work together, because that is difficult on the team, but we will do what we can to meet people's needs. So the other thing I want to add here is that we also need to create time and space. So that what this comes into is there's both life support, and then there's also the idea of, like, I can really hear in your voice, Lucy, that this is really affected you, and that it's very, like, you're very emotional, right? And so the goal is to, you know, to give time and space, eventually, you know, do our best to come to the table, you know, letting go of some of the emotion. So, you know, maybe in a week, it'll be a lot more relaxed, and it'll be easier to talk about it without the intensity and the emotion. But it's just natural. I mean, as humans, we're emotional beings, so it's like you get emotional naturally. So it's okay to be emotional, but we just want to make sure we also have space to talk professionally as well. So I think those are the main things. I have a couple other things I want to put out, like some rules, like no chatting between Julie, Benji, and only hangouts, right? And in general, no chatting about issues, period. Only, you know, hangouts. And also in general, no working through Skype chats. Only hangouts. So I think some of this could have been much better prevented if people just talk to each other. Because when you're talking to each other, you do actually have to wait to hear someone speak and listen to them. You can't have a one-sided conversation when you're actually talking. And if you are having a one-sided conversation, you can tell really easily, and you can hang up the phone, right? So I think that's really important. And even if when you have a live conversation, you can be 5-on-1 and still hold your weight because you can talk. You know, when it's all in text, it's like very, very difficult. That's part of why cyberbullying is so difficult and people kill themselves over, is because it's so intense where you can have dozens of people all coming at you simultaneously and you feel by yourself. Whereas when you're actually talking, you can defend yourself much easier and also hang up the phone. So I think that's pretty much it. Does that sound good to you, Lucy, as far as like a plan for moving forward here?
I don't understand why I said no one should chat to the Lucy.
You guys should.
Am I a problem?
Well, if you guys want to do like chats, just do only one-on-one chats, right? We talked about that, and then also just you know, keep it to a minimum. Like, you know, get on Hangouts, right? If you are chatting, only chat professionally about the work. Okay, does that make sense? It's just like keep it professional. Focus on the work that you're doing.
I understand that, Jay.
Yeah, and then get onto the Hangout. You know, it's like right now, the way that for the Andromeda team, we tell people that we don't even chat at all. We just get on the Hangout. And so the majority of us just get on the Hangout. But if you can't make the session, be like, oh, I can't make the session, you know, I'll be there late or whatever. That's pretty much it. And then we talk. You know, so the Andromeda team functions very, very differently from the Sonic team in terms of the chats. I mean, there are times we have to chat, but it's typically in reference to just like a document or something like that. So you know, Lucy, as long as you feel comfortable chatting with Julie or Benji, they seem fine with it. So just do your best, you know, and focus on cooperating and collaborating together, and we'll just see how things evolve, you know. But we don't want to push you to do anything that you don't feel comfortable with. Okay, Lucy?
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, over time, we want you to feel comfortable and to feel like there's cooperation going on, and that we can, you know, basically move beyond some of these temporary guidelines that we're setting up, and have a discussion in a retrospective, right? We retrospectively look back at this and hopefully talk about it in a way where it happened in the past, as opposed to right now we're actively living it, right? It's still happening, right? Okay, so I think, does that sound like a plan, Lucy?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And then Julie and Benji, how does that sound to you guys?
We're okay, Jay.
You're good?
Yes,
Okay,
we
fine.
moved on already, Jay. We already learned from our mistakes, so let's move on, guys. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Okay, but remember, I'm not the only one here. Like I want to make it clear that, you know, first of all, only talking to me when this is a group thing, and that the problem is I mean, I have a problem with people just saying J all the time. Like, that just doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't make me comfortable, right? So it almost feels like you ignored Lucy and you ignored, you know, Abdul and things like that when you say that. Additionally, we're not moved on, right? So you guys should acknowledge Lucy, and that Lucy still doesn't feel comfortable, and as a team, there's a problem, right? And the problem is going to continue. And you guys need to accept the context that it's not over and that it hasn't moved on, and that you need to be careful and be cooperative and be respectful and treat people like humans, and realize that, you know, you're on the other side. You know, I mean, we're all humans here. So just do your best, Julie. Do your best, Benji, and you know, when we all make mistakes, just be open about it and be vulnerable and transparent. You know. So it's a workout, but I'm glad you guys are ready to move on. It's good. Benji, Julie, does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Good day.
Okay, cool. All right, so and a couple of things that I want to mention here, because I think we're Abdul, do you have anything you want to add, Abdul? Are you there, Abdul?
And I think we are 5 people here, but in our team, I think every person have a learning mind here. Then I think there is no misunderstanding with each other. If any people or any person have a fault, he first or he or she first thinking about his fault. Am I right or not? If he or she don't understand his work or his fault or his task, then we need to clarify first with any of people, because if we are thinking that first I can create a fault, then I need to know that am I right or not. If then we need to say about that people that I am right. But if I am not right, then need to say that I am sorry. So the main thing that if we are more polite then our team as a oil team. That's it.
Okay, well, I guess I basically heard you say that basically, you know, you do your best. You know, if you have a fault and you try to do something right, but if you're not right, you know, you say you're sorry, and yeah, it can be hard. So thank you, Abdul, for your comments. You broke out a little bit, but it's very good to have your input. Cool. So in general, just to kind of wrap up here, you know, misunderstandings are going to happen. I mean, we are a group of cultures all across the world. We don't even all speak the same language. Even when we do speak the same language, we don't have the same vocabulary. We don't have the same interpretations of the words that we're saying, or how it's going to interact with the person who's hearing them on the other side. So it's basically compounded, you know, difficult situation after difficult situation, just on many layers of the difficulty of working globally as a team. It's not going to go away. It's actually going to get even more difficult with more people and more countries and more cultures and more languages. So basically, the most important things, and this is a skill, right? And some people, this is just, it's not going to work for some people, but it's a skill that anybody can learn. And the skill is basically realizing that, you know, the most important thing in working with other cultures and other people across the world is trying to get behind the words, right? When someone says something and it doesn't really connect right, or it feels harsh, it may not have been that intention of what the person said, that they may have really actually, you know, had a very different intention. So do your best to, you know, listen, and then instead of just taking the words literally of how they connect to you, try to think about what that person is saying in relationship to their culture and where they're come from, and try to think about the intention they have behind the words. And it's a very difficult thing to do, but it's a skill that we need to be able to collaborate globally and work together, and realize that many times the words that people say is not the actual intention or meaning they have behind those words, and they may have just misspoken, or just used different types of words of vocabulary. So a couple other things here that I think are important to mention. One is that I want to thank Lucy, like in terms of like what Lucy did and the work that she has been working her butt off of, and, you know, going through all of the personnel files and the work reports, and going through the work value tracking and the weekly pay spreadsheets. I mean, that is a huge amount of work. It's a lot, and we're very thankful that Lucy does that, and she did the correct thing where she found a problem, she highlighted it, she wrote that it's an issue, and so all of that was correct, right? And so we want to make sure we understand that Lucy did good. Other people should also be checking each other's work reports, and Lucy has flagged things on other work reports as well before, and so you know, Lucy obviously went a little far in terms of, like, you know, what she wrote on the work report. Like, there was other things involved, like it wasn't just, you know, the flagging of the issue on the work report. There was other things that had already started there. But the point is that, you know, the work itself is good. I mean, we need to be keeping each other accountable so that everybody is treated equally, right? So there were mistakes made. You know, Julie obviously made comments that were then reflected difficultly for when people read them. You know, but it's just like, let's just do our best to realize that overall, on a professional level, we're good. Like, the things that needed to be done got done, and we just need to work around them and do them in a way that is a little bit more human, you know, and treating each other like humans and respecting each other. And then, of course, on the side of Benji, I think we're all in agreement that, you know, it's Benji's first week. You know, his work report, we're not expecting to be correct or perfect the first week. So it's just like, you know, it could have been fine to just move on from that and not worry about it. So that could have been handled better on both sides. So yeah, I think we're pretty clear on all that. The only other things I'm saying is that, you know, we do need to schedule some life support sessions. For the Andromeda session, there's 2 life support sessions we have per week. There really should be a life support session during the Oceana and or
We left it 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
Okay, yeah, so the life support session would be really good to schedule. I think this would be a task that we want to add to our task lists, you know, to schedule a life support session. All of us have very, very different backgrounds and we need help on different aspects of our lives. And we should just make sure we're addressing that and that there's space to do that. And that's kind of like the centerpiece of the entire network that we do. So that would be helpful. And then also there's global life support sessions. So global life support sessions, I think some are already scheduled. So that'll also be a place we can do that. And then lastly, for the rankings, it's really important to understand the rankings. This is going to be a top priority. Basically, the rankings need to get done. Need to get done before, you know, almost any other work except for overall and team priorities. So basically, the bottom line on the rankings is that it needs to be clear when I'm not present, I am present, who is in charge, right? So when we're here in this space as a group, anyone can make a proposal. We're all equal. We all have equal vote, right? So majority vote can take action on the budget, can take action on the work that we're doing, and the priorities that we're making, right? So today there's 5 of us. That would mean 3 people can vote to change things, right? So, but when it comes to our work, when we're actually working, there's not equality. It's like we can't come to agreement for every single decision for every single, you know, buddy team, right? It's too much. It's like the work just needs to get done, right? So as a worker, it's like there's a specific ranking of the workers involved. It's split up into, you know, a couple differentiations, but basically you have your HR ranking, and the person who's the HR ranking is one of your bosses, right? So this would be your boss, and they can tell you to stop working, period. Okay, so your HR ranking boss can tell you to stop working in the moment you need to stop, right? So it needs to be really clear in every single buddy team who's the boss. There's one person who's going to be the boss, or in a group or between multiple buddy teams, it's going to be really clear that the person who the HR ranking, who has the highest ranking, is the person who can tell people to stop. Right? At this point in time, Steve is ranked higher than me, right? Steve is actually my boss. Okay? There is also, Heather is all of our bosses. Heather is ranked the highest. So Heather can fire all of us if she wanted to. Okay? So in that context, it's really important to understand that there is a ranking, and that when I'm not there, or other people aren't there, or that you're in your buddy team, that you guys respect each other on that level. The other thing, and so we need to get that clear. The other one is the client work hours. That ranking is basically telling you, you know, who is, you know, tasking the work, right? So the people who have been doing the most work have the most say in making sure the work is getting done. And lastly, there's the election/evaluations, and this is who represents you. And they have executive decision-making authority. So they can make temporary decisions. Authority, you know, can make temporary decisions. So whereas the HR boss can tell you to stop working for now, right? The you know, the person who represents you can basically make a temporary decision to take you out of the budget or something like that, right? So anyways, I think this is pretty clear. We're going to go through the rankings in more detail, make sure that the Sonic team is perfectly ranked and that everybody understands who is whose boss and what's going on, so that when you're in these situations, people can respect each other, not just based on cooperation and collaboration, but also realizing that there is somebody who's telling someone else what to do at different times, if needed. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up. Any other things that anyone needs to say before we wrap up and check out? Anyone need to say anything before we wrap up and check out? Going once, going twice? Okay, let's check out. I'll go first. Jay, I thought this was a good session. Good session. I am glad that people were willing to experiment with conflict evolution policies, right? So I thought we did really good. We heard each other. You know, we did some back and forth. Very important. Using some nonviolent communication techniques. I'm really excited about moving forward. Excited about moving forward and getting work done. I think some of our next steps that we really want to prioritize is the Austrasia session. I really think that you guys are capable, especially if we hire a few more people, to get the Austrasia session organized and schedule a weekly session there and start become more independent. I really want to see you guys get more independent because I think you guys have a lot of potential that is not being utilized, and that it is possible we need some more people, that maybe we just are missing a couple people, but it shouldn't be a problem to get more people involved. So that's pretty much me. Lucy, would you like to check out?
Yes. Yeah, today's session was nice. At least I released my heart for whatever I've been undergo these few days. We discussed and I feel great and looking forward to work and cooperate well.
Great. Yeah, I just want to add something that I forgot to mention is that you know, if we can't work out issues within ourselves, how are we ever supposed to tackle the massive global crises that are inflicting our entire society and the world? You know, it's like what our little conflicts are like nothing compared to what we're actually trying to solve in the world. So, okay, cool. Thank you so much, Lucy. Let's do Benji and Julie.
Yes, Jay, I am pretty well, and I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty well, and I am always looking to the positive side, and always looking forward to my training for the new test, and very willing to learn more things.
Julie?
Yes, Jay. It is indeed a good session since we solved the issue and help each other to understand the situation. So, looking forward for more productive. I'm looking forward to have a productive teamwork.
Cool. Awesome. Abdul, you want to check out?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to check out?
Good session. This session, every people, good session for today. And after this session, every people move forward, well team, and every people also cooperate each other and also do their responsibility right way. That's it.
Great. Thanks for reminding us, Abdul, about like actually getting work done. Cool. Awesome.
over.
Yeah, we're done. Perfect. Great job, guys. And you know, we have most of our what is it called? Payroll ready to go out, right? So just let me know if you need to get paid tonight, and I should get that. I should get to that. I know we got Ulysses and Julie and Benji paid, so it's just I can't remember, Lucy, if you get paid monthly or every twice a month, and then Abdul, we want to make sure we get you paid too. So just remind me, and we'll get it done. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.
If there is any task someone can do after this.
Oh, I mean, there definitely are
Yes.
some priorities that could get done. Let's see really quick here if we can assign any tasks for today. Okay, so a couple things. One is eggs of finances. So there are eggs of finances that can be done. This is the CSV docs that need to be uploaded. So there's a whole new section for what's called Zachary's Coinbase. So those need to get done.
Okay.
Scheduling budgets, priorities, rankings, personnel levels. So those are top priorities. Prep. I need to do the executive team prep, so that needs to get done. Calendar, so this is Jay. Okay, so that's pretty much it.
How are you?
This is the global doc, the full team doc. All right, so this is done. By the way, guys, we're making a lot of progress on our overall priorities. So once we get done with all of our overall priorities, then we do training, right? The goal is to get to training and do lots of training, but we're not there yet. We need to get through all these other priorities. So buddy teams, getting level policy implemented is important, but it's not going to need to happen over other things. Payroll is almost done. Local worker recruitment. So recruitment is separate. Temporary house release. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it that I know you guys can do. That's a priority, is just the finances.
Okay.
Do you guys know how to do? Do you want to work on that tonight a little bit, or is it like?
Jay, excuse me.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. What should I do with the task responsibility documentation? Should I do this now or maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, that's just something that could be done right now. I would say that's actually the best thing to do. So, I mean, if somebody wants to work on, so the only responsibility that can really be worked on right now is the CSV uploading for the Zachary Coinbase, right? And you just do this as the finance task.
Yeah.
Task, right? So people have done that before. So that's one
I
responsibility. We also have all of these responsibilities here that people can do. So Abdul can work on session value tracking and the master document updating for Abdul and Lucy. And there wasn't a lot of tasks in work, so don't worry about it, Benji.
Okay.
You know, I think you can wrap up. And so basically, you know, Abdul and Lucy can work on some of the tasks and responsibility documenting and session value tracking.
Yes.
I think it's okay. You know, Abdul or Lucy, if you want to share your screen, you can show Benji or Julie like how to do some of the work of the session value tracking if they haven't seen it before, or the master document updating. So, I think you guys can help each other a little bit, but just spend a couple, like, another 20 minutes to wrap up the session. Like, the session's over now, so we finished the session, but, we still want to do the follow-up for the session. Like, the session verification spreadsheet is very simple. You just add in the new session, and it has all the tasks and everything that would be getting done. So you just add the new session in here. So Abdul,
but I don't have the link for that document.
It would be in the link would be in the session notes for now. It's right here.
Okay.
It is already in today's notes.
Yep.
Yeah. So does that sound good, guys, or do you think we should break up further, or what?
Yeah, we should break, and me and Abdul will continue on that. I will also assist Abdul on value tracking, then we will finish up with the documentation.
Okay, that sounds good. So Julie and Benji, why don't you guys just take off here, and then you guys can look at some of the session value tracking and some of the session task responsibility verification. So the session verification spreadsheet, it's pretty simple. You would just like add a new session, a new line here, a new column, and then go through and make sure everything was completed, make sure the tasks are completed. Usually it's all no at the beginning. So, just learn about that. But you guys have about 20 minutes, and then just do as much, learn a little bit about it, and then just wrap up, stop wherever you are, and don't worry about it, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
Okay. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And Abdul and Lucy can stay here and finish up all the work that they're going to do for the next 20 minutes. And then in 20 minutes, everyone should be done.
Okay.
Cool.
Hi, Abdul.
Yes.